I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get set for our 7th race of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Getting ready for our second straight short track venue as we are ready to take to the Lucas Oil Raceway. Other people know it as the old school Indianapolis Raceway Park. And it is getting set for a 100 lap event here tonight to see who might end up becoming our 7th different winner on the season, or potentially our first repeat winner, because yesterday afternoon, or I should say Friday afternoon, we got our first repeat pole sitter of the season. Dave Smith, who got his first career pole a few weeks ago at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, doubled down and got the pole position here for this afternoon's race, and he will share the front row with Cup driver R.J. Bishop. Dave Smith has been very good in terms of his qualifying numbers. His finishing numbers, not quite as good. Only one top 10 so far this season, an average finishing position of around a little over 19th place, and is 22nd in the standings coming into this afternoon's event, a total of 70 points out of the points lead. Now, most of the time when we go to short tracks, North Wilkesboro last week being one of the exceptions, usually short tracks are all about starting track position. Would tonight be a case where Dave Smith can translate a good starting pole position into a race victory? We will have to wait and see. We're not 100% certain on what side of the spectrum Lucas Oil is on in terms of short track racing and the ability to be able to pass. Is it going to be a track position racetrack or not? 100 laps of racing, so I'm not 100% certain if these drivers are going to have to pit in this race either, which also means that if you're mid-pack, rear of the field, if there is not the ability to be able to make passes, there's not going to be much of an opportunity to be able to make passes via a pit strategy either. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Of course, caution flags will come into play if we end up getting them too, in terms of potential strategy and maybe a race of attrition. Obviously, everybody will get bunged up on restarts. So there's a lot of different facets of short track racing to take into consideration. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. Got a total of 30 drivers taking the green flag here tonight. I believe 3 Cup drivers in the field for this evening's race. 27 full-time Lights drivers ready to see if they can lock themselves up a spot in this season's playoffs, as we now go down trackside for those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
I'm up in the center of 1 and 2 up here, so as you're going down the back stretch into 3, it may appear to me that they're inside, but they may be just shy of that. I'll really try to stay on top of that all night, buddy.
About a half hour west of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where we'll see the Cup drivers in action tomorrow afternoon. You see on the right side of your screen your starting lineup for this evening's event. Cam Wright Jr. comes in the points leader after picking up his first career victory last week at North Wilkesboro, and he's on the outside of row 2 looking for back-to-back victories. He holds 7 points over a tie for second with Kyle Langland and David Dixon. And then Roberta Crown Jr. and our Daytona winner Skylar Taylor 4th and 5th, 23 points back each, so still close atop the point standings. As Dave Smith brings us down to the line, green flags in the air, and we're racing at IRP. Smith with a great jump there on the initial start, clears for the top spot. RJ Bishop, Cam Wright Jr. utilized the outside line to get around Cody Majoric. And now the battle will be on for P2. Bishop in his 5th start on the season. Cup regular. He's got 2 top 5s in his previous 4 starts and has finished in the top 10 3 of his 4 starts. Trying to run down Dave Smith now for the top position. Looks like about the top 8 or 9 have gotten themselves single filed out. Battle here for the 9th position. Give it to Kyle Langland as he'll make his way around our Manassas winner Cole Coybe. Coybe now under fire from Craig Batson in the 91 as caution waves for the first time here this evening. Dave Smith will bring him out of turn number 4 to the start-finish line. Will receive the yellow flag. Caution coming out here on lap 4. I don't see any smoke lingering anywhere on the racetrack, so I'm not necessarily certain what brought out this yellow. Michael Turner is the last car running right now at the back of the pack. We'll see if maybe it had something to do with him or not. Might have been a half spin, maybe? A half spin save? Now, something happened up in turn 1. But I'm not necessarily certain who it began with. Oh, no, never mind. I was seeing them checking up for the caution. I'm looking through, and I'm not necessarily seeing what it was that brought out the yellow. I'll utilize the pace car as a reference point to try and figure out what exactly went down here. And looks like it was the 89 of Jordan Anderson that actually went around off of turn 4. We'll bring it back to turn 3. Anderson was scored in 15th last time by. Gets up the track a little too high, as does Roberta Crown Jr. ahead of him. And then Eli Bright gets into his left rear quarter panel coming off of turn 4. There's why we couldn't see the skid marks. They kind of blend in with the darker pavement there on the apron of the front straightaway. But Anderson spins across the line. Now he spun across the line in the 17th position. Granted, he was not up to speed. Certainly not maintaining race pace. I don't know if they would have then given him the spot or not. No, because the leaders had crossed the start-finish line and were racing back. So Anderson's going to be deep in the field now, restarting around the 29th position. So we started out the race double file. Our restarts now will be single file. It will be interesting to see how much passing we have take place here when the green flag comes back out, with drivers having a little bit more space, a little bit more options going into the corner, rather than having a car immediately to their inside or outside as we did on the initial start. But Dave Smith waiting for the lights to go out atop the Chevrolet Camaro pace car. And he'll get us back under green with RJ Bishop lined up in second, Cam Wright Jr. in third, Cody Majorek fourth, and Brody Kupski will complete the top five. So a couple of the Adrenaline Motorsports Chevrolets right now up in the top five. Ralph Mason is sixth, Nick Gunther in seventh, Chris Dollerton, Kyle Langland, and Cole Koibe are your current top 10. Nobody out of the race, not even the 89 of Jordan Anderson came to pit road. You would think at least want to put on some fresh tires after that slide on the front straightaway, but pit road was a ghost town here under this caution period. And we should get lights out this time, which indeed we do. Well, we got the opportunity here under caution. Let's take a look at what's around the turn, presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs. Tomorrow afternoon at 1, it's the second of our Cup Series Crown Jewel races that will be at the hallowed ground of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 160. And then next week, Lights drivers and Cup drivers will be back at the same venue, as it'll be the first road course race of the season. We're heading to Texas for Circuit of the Americas, qualifying for the Lights drivers Friday at 3, Cup drivers Saturday at 1. Pace car heads for pit lane. Dave Smith will get us back under the green flag here. Has led the first 8 laps of this race, will lead the 9th. That's right up there to that yellow start finish line. Flagman waiting rather late to fly the green flag in this one. There's already a driver stepping out back there. Looks like for 6th position, that was Nick Gunther. Looking low on Ralph Mason. A couple of teammates there out of garage 55. A little contact maybe there as well. Nick Gunther making his 3rd light start of the season. 1 top 10 in his previous 2 starts. And obviously for our Cup drivers here tonight, they're not really getting any added experience in preparation for tomorrow's Cup Series race, since we're at 2 entirely different venues. The 6.86 mile short track here tonight for the Light Series drivers, the 2.5 mile speedway of Indianapolis tomorrow afternoon, but it's an opportunity still for the drivers to be able to get some seat time and be able to continue to improve their respective lights programs. I mean, you look at our 3 Cup Series drivers in the field here tonight. RJ Bishop, obviously, trying to help improve the performance of the 17 of Mike Tellier, who runs full-time. Gunther trying to get some added resources and information for his teammates Galligan and Mason and Brooks. And Jack Mitchell, of course, as well, in the 0-1, trying to get information for his teammates who are running quite well here in the early going of this one. Dave Smith out in the lead, and Brody Kupski currently in 5th. Chris Dollerton holding down the 8th position. Good run for him. We talked about drivers that need good runs here tonight, like Dave Smith, who's down 22nd in points. Chris Dollerton is 18th in the stands, only 1 top 10 so far in his first 6 races. He's seen his teammate Michael Turner already go to victory lane earlier on this year at Las Vegas. As Nick Gunther gets to the outside of Ralph Mason. Looks like that's where you're going to have to go to be able to make passes this evening. That second groove has a lot more drive off the corner. Though Mason not letting Gunther have the spot easily. Now Gunther's going to clear him off of turn number 2, and Dollerton will look to go to work now in the 66 for what will eventually be the 7th position. Brody Kupski in the 41, another driver that needs a good run this evening. One of 2 Lights drivers, full-time Lights drivers, that have yet to score a top 10 yet this season. Brody is 25th in the point standings. And he's already 82 points out of the points lead. As a matter of fact, I believe of the full-time Lite drivers this season that have made every start so far, Brody Kupski is currently the last driver in points. The only other two drivers that are below him, Craig Batson, who obviously has only made half the starts that the other drivers have made, as he didn't make his debut until the 4th race of the season, and then Sarah Fogelman, who's in a part-time capacity in the 11 car out of Trackhouse Racing, swaps that ride back and forth with Cup regular Reggie Fogelman. Sarah is in the field here tonight, making her 3rd start of the season. Has a couple of similarly colored cars, orange, white, and red. Duking it out for the 2nd spot, Cam Wright Jr. coming off the heels of that big win last week at North Wilkesboro. Coming the 2nd driver out of Southern Cross Racing to go to victory lane. David Dixon had picked up a victory a couple of weeks prior. And Cam, with that victory last week, jumped back up to the top of the point standings as well. He had the points lead going into, I believe it was Pocono, and then lost the points lead after Phoenix, and then gained it back at North Wilkesboro. He's 2nd statistically in most top 10s on the season. The driver that has the most top 10s is currently right now in the 10th position. That's Kyle Langland. 5 top 10 finishes in the first 6 starts on the year. He and Cam Wright Jr. are actually tied for the best average finishing position on the season at 8.83. Skylar Taylor right now holding down the 11th position. I know that this is obviously still very early on in the season, but we can start talking about playoffs and drivers and their positioning for the playoffs. Skylar Taylor right now 5th in overall points, has that victory in the season opener at Daytona. So right now he would point his way into the playoffs. He wouldn't have to rely on his win. But there are a couple of drivers that are dangerously close to that cut line that have a victory, and there's one driver, and that's the driver right there, Aubrey Powell, our winner from Phoenix, that really needs a good run here tonight, right now in the 13th position, because Aubrey is currently 16th in the overall points. And there's some drivers in Cup that we'll be talking about tomorrow that are down in the point stands. I believe one driver is already down below the top 30 in the point stands, which you need to be above for you to be eligible for your win to count towards a playoff spot. So we're already starting to see drivers, despite the fact they've had early success, they are still, though, finding little streaks of bad luck and are losing some very valuable positioning in the standings. Cole Coiby right now would be in the playoffs via a wild card spot because he is 8th in points coming into this one. Does have that victory at Manassas. As I think we had a battle there going on for 10th place. Skylar Taylor tried to the inside of Langland, nothing doing. Right now, the playoffs would currently consist of Cam Wright Jr., Kyle Langland, David Dixon, Roberta Crown Jr., Skylar Taylor, Michael Turner, and Jordan Anderson. That's your top 7 in the points coming into this week. Cole Coiby would get the first wild card spot. Aubrey Powell would get the second wild card spot, and then the final and 10th position, the third wild card spot, would go to the driver outside of the top 7, but highest in the point stands, which right now would be 9th in points, Nathan Stapleton. RJ way up the track right there, through 3 and 4, almost into the wall. Cam Wright Jr. tried to get a run on him on the inside to take that runner-up spot away, but I think that's a telltale sign that the grip in these Goodyear tires is starting to deplete. These drivers will have to start backing their pace down even more. look at Dave Smith right now. He's running about 2-3 tenths slower than the fastest lap he put down. Actually, that time he only ran a tenth slower. He's still managing to put down 23 O's while the drivers behind him are running in the 23 1s and 2s. So Dave Smith, despite the fact that he brought a very fast race car in qualifying, apparently that car is very good on long run speed as well. And an opportunity for drivers to be able to test that out here at a short track also, with the fact we had group qualifying on Friday, and a lot of your fast laps took place in the early portion of that session. You put 30 cars out on a racetrack just a little over a half mile, and you are going to have a lot of traffic to contend with, and that gave the opportunity for teams that ran well in their qualifying effort to also know if they were going to have a car that would handle well in traffic and make adjustments accordingly. During these qualifying sessions for both Lights and Cup, it is an in-pound race after qualifying, so if you're going to make adjustments in preparation for the race, you've got to do it during that said qualifying session. Cam Wright Jr. trying to find a way around RJ Bishop. Let's listen to just how much finesse you have to have in order to make your way around this racetrack at Lucas Oil, especially when you're trying to find an opposite lane in making a pass on somebody for a position on the track. On board with the Flamin' Hot Cheetos Chevrolet. Starting to get an idea of who's been saving their tires for the long run. It looks like Cam Wright Jr. might be just a tick faster than RJ Bishop, but Bishop has the track position and he has the preferred lane going into these corners. Cam Wright Jr., you saw him when we were on board, shading about a half groove lower, trying to get that momentum off the corner. A couple of things I observed there with that on board. Number one, looks like as that tire grip is going away, especially in the rear, you saw a lot of counter steer there with the steering wheel through the center of the corner, trying to make sure that the car didn't snap. You also heard a lot of feathering of the throttle on corner entry, hoping that the back end would plant. These drivers do have their hands full, and as we were on board, I don't think that you guys would have been able to see it with the ticker in the way, but was looking in the rear view mirror of the 95, and we had a good battle for a brief moment side by side for the fourth position going on. Brody Kupski managed to get to the inside of Cody Majorek, could not complete the pass, but that is a good tight battle right now for a spot inside of the top five. Kupski with a nice run through the center of 3 and 4, but not able to really do much of anything with it on the front straightaway, but putting the pressure on Majorek for the fourth spot. Chris Dollerton continuing to pressure Ralph Mason. This has been a battle going on for the last 15 to 20 laps for P7. And Skylar Taylor has been shuffled back to 11th position now, trying to get up into the top 10 on Kyle Langley, just ahead of the 93 of Jackson Haywood. Jackson just outside the top 10 in points, 11th in the standings, 2 points outside of the top 10, and just outside the top 10 on the racetrack here as well. Couple of drivers towards the back of the pack that could be in danger if things don't change and they're not able to turn their fortunes with potential pit strategy or getting things bunched up under a caution. As we're going to stay here real quickly at the battle for second is on again. Cam Wright Jr. to the inside of RJ Bishop. Might have to pull the slide job here or try and force the 16 up the track. But right there you see that great run just through the final 2/3 of the corner for RJ Bishop, going to keep Cam Wright Jr. at bay. Cam Wright Jr., as I said, I think has a faster race car, but the only way he's going to be able to make that pass complete on Bishop is if Bishop makes a major mistake and loses a ton of momentum. But a couple of drivers that came into tonight running very well in the point standings. Jordan Anderson, of course, who spun off of turn 4, bringing out our only caution so far tonight. That dropped him all the way back towards the rear of the field. He's currently in the 29th position, has not made up any progress since the restart. He was 7th in points coming into tonight, and he is in danger now of falling not only out of a playoff position, but maybe even out of the top 10 in overall points. And then Nathan Stapleton, we were talking about if the playoffs were to be put together right now, Stapleton would get the final wildcard spot. Nathan is currently mired back in the 27th position. And just ahead of him, Colin Grace. Stapleton's 9th in overall points. Colin Grace is 10th in the points coming into this one. And neither driver having a good performance here tonight. And a lot of this translating to the poor performance in qualifying on Friday afternoon. I think we're getting an idea that at least on the initial start when they were doubled up, there was the opportunity for passing. But now as the run goes on, it is very much a race of track position, as Dave Smith has been able to prove. He's led every lap so far tonight and is fast approaching the halfway point. Second place battle continues between RJ Bishop and Cam Wright Jr. It's now about 4 or 5 cars that are nose to tail here from 4th place on back. Nick Gunther looking to put some pressure on the 41 of Brody Kupski. That would be for 5th. 2 of our Cup drivers up here inside of the top 10. The other one, Jack Mitchell, currently mired back in 22nd. But got to be very pleased with the fact that his 2 younger teammates are currently running up inside of the top 5. Dave Smith dominating this race since the initial start. This has been the best battle on the racetrack, though, watching Cam Wright Jr. try to get around RJ Bishop. Their battles have allowed Dave Smith to be able to open up a bit of a gap, nearly a 1.5 seconds. They did close up a little bit that last time by. They closed up about a 1/10. Did Bishop and Cam Wright Jr. We'll keep an eye on the lap times here, but Bishop might be trying to figure out something to reel in Dave Smith for the top position. Previous lap, Bishop was a 1/10 quicker, and this most recent lap, he was a 1/10 quicker again. Chipping away at the race lead. Cam Wright Jr. trying to put the pressure back on Bishop. Bishop with a 23.6. That time Dave Smith a 23.3. So the last 3 laps that Bishop gained back a 1/10, Dave Smith just got it all back in 1 lap right there, gaining 3/10 on the 16. And right now, Dave Smith is a big fan of Cam Wright Jr., hoping that they continue to battle. That will help him to be able to extend his race lead interval. That time by, they ran pretty similar lap times in the 23.5s. Bishop about 800ths quicker, but not much in that. Past the halfway point here in the Lucas Oil 100 at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break and come back here for the second half of this race. Dave Smith hoping that his 2nd career pole translates to his 1st career win, as he has been dominant here this evening in Claremont. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway, as we are more than halfway home in Lucas Oil 100 this evening, the 7th race of the season for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers. Dave Smith has dominated here tonight as he has led all 58 completed laps so far, about to lead his 59th lap, and we're watching a good battle here in the latter half of the top 10. Things got really wadded up from about 5th place on back. Chris Dollerton trying to shoot the middle as he got to the outside of Nick Gunther for 6th. Ralph Mason will now go to the outside as well of his teammate. Gunther going to lose a couple of spots. Craig Batson now will jump to the outside to take advantage. And Gunther will drop from 6th back to the 9th position. May lose more. We'll see if Kyle Langland can get the outside of the 55, or will Gunther be able to slam the door? Cannot do it. Langland will get to the right rear quarter panel, and Gunther will continue to free fall. Skylar Taylor will now get to the outside of Gunther, so Gunther's going to fall out of the top 10. Skylar Taylor is going to move into 10th place, and the troubles may not be over for the 55. 93 of Jackson Haywood. He's not going to be able to fill that gap, so Gunther will, looks like, hold on to 11th place. Skylar Taylor now going to look for more. He'll get to the outside of Kyle Langland. We're starting to see some movement here in drivers making passes for position. And Taylor, just like that's going to go from 11th up to 9th. Gets by both Gunther and Kyle Langland. But that all started with a big stack up behind Brody Kupski. Dollerton now will move into the 6th position. He'll now be looking towards the 41 for a top 5. And the battle for 2nd has closed up once again. Cam Wright Jr. putting the pressure back on RJ Bishop. This taking place a little less than 2 seconds behind the race leader Dave Smith. Now, Smith has led every lap so far, so pretty obvious that he has locked up the bonus point for most laps led here tonight. And looking to make it a complete sweep and lead all 100 laps as Cam Wright Jr. again gets to the left rear quarter panel. He's made a few challenges tonight, but he just can't seem to be able to get that car to rotate through the center. It's very difficult with the shorter, shallower apex to be able to get back to the throttle on corner exit for that good straightaway speed. The wider sweeping corner for RJ Bishop allows him the opportunity for the earlier access to his throttle, giving him that greater straight line speed and keeping the 95 at bay. And of course for RJ Bishop, he's getting to choose whatever lane he wants through the corner. He's forcing Cam Wright Jr. to do something different, and Cam just does not seem to have quite the setup, quite the handling in that race car, and more than likely not the grip that he needs to be able to complete that pass. A couple of drivers, we were talking about drivers towards the rear of the field that were running well in the point standings, and we may end up having quite a bit of a points shakeup at the conclusion of this one. Some drivers that we have not highlighted tonight that have been running very well in the point standings in the early going of this season. One of them, Roberto Crown Jr., currently back in the 16th position. Running there with a bunch of his teammates. Eli Bright just ahead, Juan Garcia just behind. Roberto was 4th in points coming into this one, 23 points out of the points lead. It's been a bit of a mediocre night for him. He's just been mired mid-pack and not been able to make forward progress. And then our winner from a couple of weeks ago, David Dixon, right now back in the 24th position. Nearly had a bump and run put on him right there by Sean Galligan, who'll try getting to his outside for that 24th spot. But David Dixon came into this one 7 points out of the points lead to teammate Cam Wright Jr. Right now he's outside of the top 20, in danger of free falling a bit through the points. I want to get back up here to around the 7th position. We saw Ralph Mason and Craig Batson. They were almost side by side for that spot. Craig moving up the track there, trying to find something on corner exit. You saw him lose ground on entry. And now Skylar Taylor trying to see if he can feather the throttle up to the left rear quarter panel. Leaves the door open, though. Kyle Langland will get to his outside. Langland for the 9th position. Slid up a bit there through 3 and 4. Can he get back to the right rear quarter panel of the Costco Mazda? No, he cannot. Taylor will slam the door on him going into 1. Langland, though, going to try that top line again and lost a ton of ground that time through the center of 1 and 2. Ralph Mason trying to shade high on Chris Dollerton for 6th. Nothing doing there. As we are closing in on 25 laps to go. For one final time, let's give you a look at what's coming up around the turn, presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs. This being the first weekend that the Lights drivers and Cup drivers at different venues, albeit only about half an hour away from each other. But when this race concludes, next on tap tomorrow afternoon will be the second of our Crown Jewel races. We had the Daytona 500 to open up the season. And we will be at the Yard of Bricks, the most historic racetrack in all of motorsports, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with the Brickyard 160 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the Cup and the Lights drivers, they'll be back together at the same venue as we get prepared for our first road course races of the season, as both Lights and Cup will be qualifying at Circuit of the Americas. Lights drivers on Friday at 3, Cup drivers on Saturday at 1. Well, the Papa Dave's Chevrolet of Dave Smith has put on an absolute clinic here this evening. Started on the pole position and has led every lap so far. Had maybe a challenge or two from RJ Bishop in the early going, but has been able to open up now over a 2-second gap back to Bishop, who continues to be dogged by the 95 of Cam Wright Jr. It's going to be another great points night for Cam, coming off the heels of his first career victory last week at North Wilkesboro, regaining the points lead. Kyle Langland, his closest competitor in the points on the racetrack, is back in 10th right now. We already showed David Dixon and Roberto Crown Jr. both outside the top 15. So Cam, who had only 7 points in hand over Langland and Dixon coming into tonight, will have a greater points gap in preparation for Circuit of the Americas next week, provided he can hold down this podium finish. And RJ Bishop, he's probably been of the Cup driver interlopers so far this season, he's been probably the best of them. Granted, he's made more starts. He and Reggie Fogelman coming tonight had made 4 starts each, but I mean, you look at it, and RJ with 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in the 4 previous starts he's made, and now right now en route for another top 5. I mean, he's done very well with this 16 team. Believe that this is going to be the last time we'll see him in the 16 car for a while, though. We'll be seeing other drivers taking on the duties of piloting that machine out of the Young Motorsports stables. Dylan Young, Destin Bolin, Eric Sadler, all tabbed to be making some starts in this ride during the course of the season. Surprisingly enough, though, we see RJ running well here tonight, but that speed has not translated over to the full-time Lights driver, Mike Tellier. Mike's currently back in the 20th position right now. See if any late race battles might be brewing here as we are at less than 20 to go. Ralph Mason continues to try to put the pressure on Chris Dollerton. Brody Kupski running in the 5th position will net his first top 10 finish on the year, and that will leave just Wes McCoy out of Haas Racing as the final full-time driver yet to finish this season inside of the top 10. It will not be tonight. Wes is currently back in the 26th position. So the tough start to the year for that driver will continue, and he'll look to bounce back next week at COTA. Big opportunity there for Cam Wright Jr., and it's going to be a little too much as he tried the outside line through 1 and 2, gets the wall off of 2. You saw how that just slowed all of his momentum, and that might have been the last-ditch effort for the runner-up spot for Cam. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to close up the gap once again here on Bishop and have another shot at him. We'll see. He only kissed the wall. He didn't completely clobber the right side of that machine, so it shouldn't hinder his speed here. It just lost him a ton of momentum. So Bishop now firmly in control of that second spot. Cody Majorek. Keep an eye on this 70 car through the next couple of weeks, because he had a great run last week at North Wilkesboro. Jumped up 5 spots in the standings to 12th, and he's en route for another solid outing tonight inside of the top 5. Now, we mentioned about the fact that Jordan Anderson will likely fall out of a playoff position this evening. Michael Turner will probably fall out of the top 7 into a wild card spot. The points are still pretty close from about 4th down through 16th in the standings. And I think Cody Majorek could maybe work his way up into the top 7 in points at the conclusion of this one, with back-to-back great short track runs in the last 2 weeks. But Dave Smith, what a night it has been for him. I think the last time we checked, the interval was a little over 2 seconds. It has now opened up to over 3.5 seconds. Back to RJ Bishop. The tire fall-off has certainly been more prevalent the longer this run has gone on. Now, Dave Smith running a full second slower than the fastest lap that he's put down. Fastest lap of the night has actually gone to Ralph Mason, who's back in the 7th spot. Ralph clocking in at a 22.861. But to give you an idea of the amount of speed they're carrying around this racetrack, that's an average speed of 108 miles per hour. It's about the top speed that Dave Smith is hitting going into these corners. And then he is slowing it down to nearly anywhere from 93 to 95 miles per hour through the center of the corner. Less than 10 to go now, though, for the 15 car out of Adrenaline Motorsports, looking for their first Lite Series win as an organization. We saw Jack Mitchell run full-time in the Lite Series last year, single car capacity, went winless. They came into Season 2 with 3 cars, 2 of them full-time, with Smith in the 15, Brody Kupski in the 41, and Jack Mitchell making intermittent starts here and there. Dave Smith, a former pole sitter, back at Las Vegas. That did not translate into a win, but got his 2nd career pole on Friday afternoon. And he has completely dominated this race here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway. Closing in on 5 laps to go. We do have a battle potentially here for the final spot inside of the top 5. Chris Dollerton has jumped to the top side on Brody Kupski, and he will take the spot. Ralph Mason tried to fill the gap, couldn't do it. Skylar Taylor to the inside of Craig Batson. That is, I believe, for 7th or 8th. 8th position. Again, things are getting wadded up in the second half of the top 10. Almost 3 wide there. Taylor had to back out, and he's going to lose a spot to Kyle Langland. Ooh, Ralph Mason in the wall. right ahead of the 26, who had to check up a ton. Here comes Nick Gunther, now to the inside of Langland for 10th place. Drivers trying to get every last position that they can. Gunther will not be able to make the pass on the 26, as Mason slides back from about 6th or 7th to 9th. Dollarton moves up into the top 5. Brody Kupski gets moved back to 6th. And now things settled out a little bit there as we move back up to Dave Smith, who this time by will see 4 laps to go. Sometimes all it takes is a win to get your season turned around. Dave Smith coming into tonight, only 1 netted top 10. An average finishing position of around 20th. We talked about how his qualifying numbers have been tremendous. He's got, I believe, the 2nd best average qualifying position this season, second only to Jackson Haywood. But now about to translate into his first career win in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Just came down tonight who had the strongest car. Pit strategy did not come into play. They were able to make it the full 100 laps on what they had in the tank as we originally assumed. That won't be the case tomorrow in the Cup race at Indianapolis though, 2.5 mile speedway. We will definitely see pit road play a factor in the outcome of that one. But we are about to go 7 for 7 in different drivers going to victory lane, as this time by, white flag will be displayed over the hood of the Papa Dave's Chevrolet Camaro. Impressive performance here tonight. He will finish the evening over 4 seconds ahead of his nearest competitor. It has been a flawless race for Dave Smith out of Adrenaline Motorsports, as the Lucas Oil 100 will go to Dave Smith. He will take the checkered flag this evening at Indianapolis Raceway Park. RJ Bishop will get 2nd, and points leader Cam Wright Jr. will bring it home on the podium in 3rd. Drag race there for, I believe that was the 13th position. Juan Garcia just edges Aubrey Powell for that spot. But Dave Smith is headed to victory lane for the first time in his Duracell Ultra Lite Series career, as he goes coast to coast here this evening at the Lucas Oil Raceway. And we will now take a look at your full finishing results, as they should now be official with everyone crossing the line. So Dave Smith brings it home with the win. RJ Bishop, Cup driver, another top 5 run for him, his 3rd of the season, as he'll bring it home 2nd. And Cam Wright Jr. will indeed extend his points lead heading into Circuit of the Americas next week, as he gets another solid outing in 3rd, 1 week removed from his first career victory. Cody Majorek will bring it home in 4th. Chris Dollarton picked up a couple spots in the final 30 or so laps of this race to move up to 5th. Brody Kupski will finish in 6th. Craig Batson in 7th. Skylar Taylor, Ralph Mason, Kyle Langland will be your top 10. So with Cam Wright Jr. finishing in 3rd, Kyle Langland in 10th, 7 points gained. It'll be about 14 points the difference of Cam Wright Jr. to Kyle Langland heading into next week for the points lead. Brody Kupski will get his first top 10 on the season with his 6th place performance. Nick Gunther finishes just outside of the top 10 in 11th. Jackson Haywood was 12th. I thought that it was Juan Garcia getting Aubrey Powell at the line for 13th place, but scoring gives it to the 71. So Garcia will get 14th, and Eli Bright will finish in the 15th position. 16th place is going to be Cole Coybe. 17th, Jack Mitchell. Jack actually picked up quite a number of spots there as well, like Dollarton in the final half of this race. I believe he was back around 21st or 22nd midway through this event and finished up in 17th place. So he obviously had a very good handling long run car. Cat Batson will finish in 18th. Sarah Fogelman and David Dixon going to complete your top 20. Dixon came into this race 2nd in points. He will obviously not be there, I don't think, when this points are calculated. Roberto Crown Jr. was 4th in points coming in tonight, tied for 4th actually with Skylar Taylor. He finishes 21st, so he'll take a little bit of a tumble in point standings. Mike Tellier will get 22nd. Autumn Brooks in 23rd. Colin Grace and Nathan Stapleton will complete the top 25. Grace and Stapleton will potentially fall out of the top 10 in overall points. Wes McCoy will finish in 26th. Sean Galligan 27th. Michael Turner, who came in 6th in the standings, finishes in 28th. Jordan Anderson, who was 7th in points, will finish in 29th. And Nathan Fogler will finish out the remainder of the field here tonight. But a bunch of drivers, nearly a half dozen drivers, not getting the best of runs here this evening, and they will drop in points. David Dixon, Roberto Crown Jr., Michael Turner, Jordan Anderson, Nathan Stapleton, Colin Grace, all those drivers finished outside of the top 15, top 20, so it will be interesting to see what kind of a point shakeup we will have when we get to Circuit of the Americas next week. But congratulations to Dave Smith. His second career pole translates into his first career win as he takes the checkered flag tonight at the Lucas Oil Raceway. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race here from IRP. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe for part of the crew today. We showed your full feature results. You're now looking at the point standings as a result of tonight's race, and that's what it's going to look like heading into our first road course stop of the season at Circuit of the Americas next week. We've still got to cap off our Indiana race weekend, though, as tomorrow afternoon it's going to be the Cup drivers taken to the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 160. Hope to see you all for that, and we'll see you guys next week at Circuit of the Americas as we continue on our season for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. But until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.